Welcome back to the Fashionably Late Pod. I'm your host, Matt Dillon. As you know by now, the concepts and the overlying themes of the Fashionably Late Pod are about life putting you in a place or throwing a curveball at you when you least think you're prepared for it, and it changes the trajectory of your entire life. Today's guest, Raz Patel. Welcome, my darling.
Hi, baby.
I want to do you a little introduction. Actress, model, author, philanthropist, badass lady. What I wanted to have you on for in the beginning is because you have the most powerful story of overcoming adversity, and that is the very concept of what this podcast is. Mm-hmm. So not only as a child were you involved in an accident, but you were told that you were never to walk again, never to move. So take us back to that young woman.
Years back, yeah.
Take us right back. But let's get into it because we're close. I really want to delve into that moment and people telling you would never walk.
Honestly, and it just happened so quickly.
So you had a car accident.
I had a car accident. The collision was against a telephone pole. This is 30-something years back.
Ring,
I
ring.
was 16. I was 16 years old, just, living my life and ready to graduate out of high school and starting new, fresh. And lo and behold, instantly, the car on my side, being the passenger, it hit against a telephone pole, and it had rained that morning, so obviously it didn't help. I blacked out. I honestly don't remember what happened, which is a good thing, actually, just because you don't want to see the traumatic experience, what you're going through. I do remember that the helicopter had just cut the rooftop just to lift me up. And my friend, the one who was driving, she was trying to keep me down because I just wanted to get my head out of the dashboard. Apparently, my pelvic had snapped immediately, and ribs were fractured. I had glass pieces so I had scars.
Mm-hmm.
And which, only after being weeks in the hospital did I finally realize something seriously was wrong. And the doctors realized when they were trying to make me get up and walk that this girl
couldn't walk. Isn't that funny that I that moment I think is your greatest lesson, because who you are now and knowing you, that beautiful bubble that you're in and what have you, that for 2 weeks you're like, no, I can't walk.
I can't
You
walk.
were paralyzed.
I was under major shock. Wait, this can't be me. I just, to me, no matter what my life has been, even 16 years, I've always tried to look for the positive, and I thought this was it.
That's a hard one to find a positive in, though. At 16, to be told that you'll never to walk.
Never to have kids.
That those dreams and what women deserve to have, that journey and what have you. We're going to get to that you made it. Yeah. But let's talk about that whole kind of process from you're never going to walk to nobody's going to tell me I'm not going to do something.
Definitely.
How did you go from that realization of shock to actually being like, I have to deal with this?
That's a tough one, and I'll take you to a journey. And sorry if I get a little emotional.
That's okay. We're here.
So the problem, it's just a lot, because when you're going through so many burdens and stuff, for a little girl who just wants to get out, in college and so forth, and just live her life, to understand that you can never do it again, never get that moment to have that freedom is the biggest blow in your life, just because obviously my life previously wasn't easy. So that's what I mean. It's like a lot of emotional burden from that angle. And I remember, Matt, that and usually a lot of people tell you this story when they go through something traumatic or you have a near life death situation, you do see the light. And I saw it. The moment and that's all I remember, Matt, is that this beacon of light, there was like bright white light, and it was just a way for me to go to it, and I felt at peace.
But you're like, it's not Broadway. I'm not going there yet. Exactly. I don't want to go yet.
I was like, what's going on here?
Wow.
And you don't realize that you're actually there in that border of...
You were on the preface of
life and death.
But it wasn't your time.
It wasn't my time.
Whatever you believe in the world, God, the man on the
Spirituality,
moon, whatever it
whoever,
is,
the rock,
it
whatever.
wasn't your time.
It wasn't my time. And so when back to the presence of reality of when the doctors told me that I'll never be able to walk again, to hear that while you're under, heavy influence of drugs just because of the pain.
You're laid up on
this, I'm like, am I hearing this right? So they took me back on the stretcher, back to the home, to my house, and I laid there for months and months, just, with my neck just moving, my head moving back and forth. That's it, Matt. And thinking, this is it. It's over.
When did that change, though? How did you change that? Because I think if you laid in that and knowing you now and knowing what like a jump starter you are, how did you deal with that mind fuck?
The epiphany, right? So it was honestly not while I was lying there. It was a matter of saying, okay, I have nothing to do. It was a very innocent little girl's mind, right? So
yeah, let's not forget she was 16.
I
so
was
this
16.
is like she's developing, she's maturing.
Yeah, and to hear that, this is it, this is over. That moment where I just felt like I'm gonna end it, and since I'm not gonna be on this bed for the rest of my life, and then understanding how. You're going through these deep, dark thoughts. And these are dark thoughts for a 16-year-old to just say, just let it go. End it, move on. There's nothing left for you. 2, the transition of saying, maybe. And that, Matt, is what you're looking for.
That one word. The maybe word.
That beacon of light came when I just started to visualize. And I started to imagine me being on that stage just because that was...
Because you're razzle-dazzle, babe.
Razzle-dazzle.
That was your dream from the very beginning.
Since I can remember age 2, I used to dance and feel the love. And it's not because of someone else. It's just me. The music just engulfs me.
What it does for you.
For me, my
Correct.
soul. It's a therapy. And so I just kept dreaming about it, and I could visualize the clothes I was wearing, the light on the stage, and everyone just getting up to applaud. And I could even see myself the way I was moving. Graphically, visually, everything to the T. And every day I kept dreaming on this, dancing, because again, I had nothing better to do. And that moment, something shifted where I felt my ribs were healing. My scars were less visible. And I felt, that maybe there's a hope. And from there, I was transported to the wheelchair and then gone to the PT, physical therapy.
Wow.
And Matt, even though now I felt like there was a sliver of hope, the worst situation was that PT. Because for your neurons, for your brains to say, take the first step, how babies, you teach them on the first, I couldn't do it. Again, I felt like this is it. I'm back to reality.
Wow.
I'm not able to do that. I could not. Imagine not being able to take that first step.
It scares me to think that, to be perfectly honest.
Or just even holding it. Whatever you're going to, whatever you take for granted, right? And not being able to take that first step was the most difficult thing that anyone has to endure, just because you're taking it for granted, right? And I said, well, it's over. That's it. And my PT, they're like, this is your first step. Don't worry. It'll come to you. It'll come to you. So I went back home, and I just remember crying my heart out just because I said, well, and it's a very mature thing for a 16-year-old to think. It's like, I can't believe we take this for granted. And I was thinking through this, and I said, why me? Why am I going through this? Why should I endure this burden? I just want to live. I want to feel. I want to be happy. So again, when you start thinking positively, right? The positive affirmation, it is actually true. And that's when I started feeling better and feeling happy. And reimagining and visualizing in my dreams, that helped me. And I felt the first tingle
Wow.
on my left leg.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah. And
They say the power of manifestation.
It's
Some people
huge.
laugh at it. There's your proof in the pudding right there that the mind is the most powerful entity of us.
Yes.
The mind and the heart
the mind and the heart.
is my opinion.
And do not sell it short for yourself.
So you took your first step, your second step, and gather over what time period was that? A year, 2 years, 3 years?
So actually, I think it's because of my mind and my willpower. I'm very resilient overall, and not to just boast about myself.
Honey,
I
toot,
mean-
honey. You were dead and buried. So I say toot the horn, beep beep, as much as possible, because
Yeah,
to go what you went through at 16
yeah.
would have, and I hate to be barbaric in my words, would have killed other people.
I mean, I
Or
was
they might have
almost
done
there.
themselves. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's a reality
And I
that
feel for them, and that's why my heart, Matt, goes out to folks, and that's where I love deeply and I care deeply because of it. And so in terms of time lapse, honestly, it was months before I started to walk again. And honestly, it was not walking like how we normally
Yeah, of
do,
course
strut
not.
and so forth.
well, you had to relearn.
Matt, to go to one class where, back in high school when the bell rings and you go to another, by the time I went from one class to the next, the bell would have rung by the time I actually got there.
Wow.
But I told myself I did it. I walked all the way there. And it's a blessing to have the schools, the teachers, the students supporting you, because they would just be excited the fact I was able to do it.
Isn't that a funny dichotomy to think about that? Because I'm like, you think about school, and school can be very horrific.
Very horrific.
Very horrific.
brutal to
for
you.
brutal. So I'm like, that's really a beautiful, like, I
It was
feel
a
like
great
it was a
support
team thing. It
system.
was but that's so rare. And I think the shit that I went through in school, you think, and I'm like, my God, you would have been category number 1 for bullying.
Yeah. Honey, I was bullied. I was discriminated, but that's the whole different.
But
past 16. But each thing teaches you, right?
Of course, yeah. I
And-
think the overall lying message and what have you is you sit here today having an encyclopedia of experiences
Absolutely.
that I wouldn't wish on my best friend,
No.
mind you.
Oh,
I
and
would-
your arch enemy. You don't-
I
wouldn't.
Depends. Let me get my black book out and start. I wouldn't wish it on anybody,
No.
but to know you is to love you, and your quirks and idiosyncrasies and the person that you are and the loving of life and loving hard and chasing dreams. Yeah. So we're gonna like shake it up a little bit
Chasing
and
dreams.
go to
Amen.
some more positive.
Yes.
As a woman now, you have a beautiful husband,
Yes.
2 sons. You were to never have children. She has 2 beautiful strapping
Can you
lads.
believe that?
This is a crazy.
And don't forget my service dog.
Oh,
my
don't-
Toby.
What I
That's
feel.
my beautiful son.
What I feel is,
Yeah.
and I want to kind of get from you about the concept of chasing dreams.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk about what that means, given what you went through, where you are in life now, modeling, acting.
Yeah.
You have the show coming out too, the Raz
Yeah, the
Patel
Raz
show.
Patel show. Yes.
I'll be a guest on
yes.
that one. Tune in.
And speaking to the
Speaking,
world.
so I want to know how you use your experiences. And this is people, again, always say, oh, inspiration. Well, if that's not inspiration right there in that seat, then I don't know what the fuck is. How do you use that experience to really connect to people? Because what this world is missing is empathy.
Empathy, authenticity, vulnerability, just to have that emotional intelligence with people, just to connect. Because right now we're in the world of AI and people are longing to have that human touch.
I like it.
Yeah. And that's why I love
Touch me.
you. Because, we are just human, we're real. And the world just needs that. Now, in terms of going back to my dreams and how I connect, it's because I could have chosen, Matt, to just stay silent in my thoughts, in my stories, in my listen to the negative voices saying, why
Correct.
now? You've gone through, you've worked, and you've raised your kids, but why are you doing this? And I hear that. I just heard that yesterday from someone telling that, oh, she's doing this, she's modeling at this age, 40-something, what's going on? Is she bored of life? No.
I think you have zest for life. I don't think it's bored of life. I think it's also about perspective. I think this world is very, on the outside, people looking in, and not many people have gone through what you went through. So that gives you a perspective to be able to like leap.
Exactly.
And people are frightened to death of leaping because, oh, what will they think of me? What will
It's a fear factor.
Who gives a shit?
It's a fear factor.
But fear factor, once you push through that, I don't think you are the definition of fearless because what else could happen to you? Oh, by the way, she also had a stroke. I don't want to get us too dumb, but if life can throw shit at you, it certainly did to you.
It certainly did.
But the way you've pivoted,
yeah,
especially in the speaking engagements that you speak to women of your age, and I think that's a really big demographic, the college students, because of what you went through. But I love that you speak, you don't preach, you just share you share your journey.
That's it.
And hope that connects to people, because not everybody's going to have the dramatic arc like that.
Right.
But everybody's arc feels dramatic for themselves.
Absolutely.
So how do you kind of reconcile in terms of when people say to you, oh, why are you doing this? Or why are you doing this?
Matt.
Well, I know what you really say. Fuck you. It's true. No, it's true.
It's true.
I know.
It's true.
But how do you compartmentalize that? Right. So because noise comes in.
It's always there. So I could take it where I'm like, listen to them and follow whatever they say, but do they really matter to me?
And who are they?
And who are they to, govern my life?
Correct.
I have a beautiful, supporting husband, and I have two beautiful sons, Johnny. And my kids, they know, Mom, you've done so much. You've endured so much, and we want you to go and be yourself. And it's not overnight, by the way. I used to do modeling and theatrical acting way long ago.
Yes.
So before marriage. So it's nothing new. And in terms of emceeing and hosting. So it's been part of me.
But it's a breakthrough. I think it's a
breakthrough.
different. I think because of where you are in life as a woman.
Yeah.
That it's a completely different. You've raised children. You're still raising the boys, but you're at an age
I'm
where
at a different stage, at
a
a wiser
they're
stage.
somewhat self-sufficient.
Yes.
They're still your babies.
They're always going to be my babies.
Correct. But they're at a stage where it's like it is your time
Yes.
to shine. It is your time to move. Let's
It's
talk
the
about
next
the books.
phase of life.
Let's
right?
talk about the books.
Okay, the book. Oh my God, my fabulous fail series.
The Fabulous Fail series.
On Amazon.
Yes.
And that is actually the reason being is going back to what you're saying is no matter what, you have to laugh through your failures. You have to laugh when you fall. You have to laugh in your mistakes. There's no such thing as perfection.
Not laugh at somebody, but laugh at oneself.
Yes. And it's okay. I mean, you have to understand it's like failing, being the fabulous mad scientist. Blow up that lab until you figure out there's actual cure that you've created. It's just understanding in all the mess, you've created miracle.
Oh,
right?
I got tingles. Not shingles, tingles.
And that's what I want. I want people to laugh because there's a lot of negative thoughts, negative issues and topics that goes around.
Sure is.
And I just want people to say the first step is to smile and smile at yourself and laugh at your perceived flaws that you may have, because that could be your best beauty.
I mean, for me, that resonates so much because I think people really worry about what the outside world thinks. And when you can laugh at your own shit, and I say I'm my greatest supporter, but I'm also my greatest critic.
Yes.
So that balance there, and to hear it as beautifully and eloquently said, really is something that I hope the viewers and the listeners take, because it's these moments where we can connect as human beings, and laughter and just the emotion of
just lifting your paw.
Yeah.
The moment we smile, think about it, our entire vibe goes up.
That's how you met your husband. You smiled, and he begged you 3 days later.
He's
Johnny. But in all seriousness, I do think that your story is one that the world is opening up to. I think in this day and age, to look back and just think of all the bullshit that you went through.
And I don't know. I don't want anyone to go through it, but you know, there are a lot of people, they're going through their own
Correct.
challenges.
Yes.
And to me, that's their own level of discomfort, and I want them to shine through it.
So my question then is this.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that you had multiple fashionably late moments? Why do you think the universe threw you that challenge at 16?
Very good question. And it wanted me to pivot, like you said.
Pivot at
change.
16. You
Yes.
definitely pivoted.
Yeah. I said enough. I will not ever think of myself as a burden to anyone. I will have that freedom to think on my own and do what I need to do to make myself happy and proud. Not for others, but for myself. And that's the way I've lived from that moment on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful, because I do believe that the universe does do things or puts you in a scenario where something does happen
Yeah.
when it's meant to happen.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
everything good, bad, and ugly that you went through truly brought you to this moment where you're an author, you're speaking, at Harvard.
Yeah.
Like it's really big. It's empowering for me to hear this and to learn more from you. And I just want to thank you for being here today and sharing that deep pain, because through it, my viewers and listeners will truly take away that our problems ain't that deep.
And thank you.
Could be
Matt.
worse.
You've been a great individual for me, and I love you dearly. And you've always been there for me. So
And I will be.
thank you.
Okay, guys. Well, today was very, very deep, but I think it's important sometimes to sit back and look at stories that may be jarring, may make you like, oof. But at the end of the day, it's those stories and your story, ma'am, that can have greatest change. So, fashionably late, let's do it. Thanks for being on time and not fashionably late. We'll see you next time. Thank you.